She came into the house like an angel of courtesy and left like a shadow with a smile that seemed able to look through walls. The babysitter's secret. She came into the house the picture of politeness and left like a shadow, the smile still on, like it could look through walls. Marlowe was a postcard that had stopped breathing. Snow lay in layers like paint. Sidewalks cracked under your shoes. Every evening looked like the last, the way a cashier's smile looks the same from shift to shift. People here prized quiet and neighbors who didn't make trouble, especially in winter when the night overstays and gratitude passes for trust. That's when the Hamptons hired a sitter and the house got just a shade more orderly than usual, a detail no one writes down but everyone remembers later. Jessica showed up like someone from a manual, punctual, neat, with a way of speaking just enough not to waste time. First night, she found the under-cabinet light in the kitchen, the spare battery box in the pantry, and the short key to the mailbox tucked in a dish beneath gloves. Asked how she guessed, she said, "People hide what's useful where it's easy to reach." Less a riddle, more one of those truths you stop explaining with age. Soon the TV remote died, keys stuck, screen blank, Emma ready to cry as her cartoon froze mid-sentence. Jessica popped the cover, picked out a crumb, swabbed the board with a Q-tip, and the remote came back, calm as if it were on the checklist between water and windows. Mrs. Hampton thanked her like you thank a tech who shows up fast. Mr. Hampton said, "Rare thing, not panicking when a machine dies." The room got brighter without anyone changing a bulb. That evening was algebra. Traina leaves, Train B catches up if numbers don't get in the way. Emma frowned, lined up her fingers like toy soldiers, lost the thread where patience beats talent. Jessica slid the pencil case aside, drew a straight line with ticks. Trains are just people leaving home at different times. The problem stopped bristling. The solution lay down neat, like a plowed track. Her parents traded a look that says, "If only someone had put it that way when we were kids." In that look, a small balance of trust got minted, the kind that gets spent later with no change. Life did its usual breaking. The kitchen timer beeped for nothing, the washer door got stiff, a lamp flickered. Jessica handled each the same way, steady palm, no fuss, setting the problem down like fresh laundry and putting it back in order. Not miracles, just a calm so dependable it surprised you and then you got used to it if you didn't ask questions. Emma got used to it first. Toys returned in complete sets. Homework ended without tears. The spoon found the mouth more than the tablecloth. That rare thank you appeared, the kind worth more than a tip. The snow outside looked less like cold and more like scenery for the word home. Where winters run long, anyone who can hush the night gets treasured. Gratitude passes for trust, at least till spring. Within days it felt like Jessica had always been there, not like a shadow, more like a habit you forget until it fails. If anything was off, it was how quickly she knew where things lived and how evenly she took the unforeseen, as if reading a few scenes ahead. Towns like Marlowe don't complain, not when kids turn in on time and the alarm rings for a reason. The rest is left to snow. It keeps better than people do, at least till the thaw. One windy night, with drifts freezing in layers, Mr. Hampton reached for the hall switch and heard a low hum in the living room. He opened the door a hand's width. His silhouette sat in the dark. The screen was black like a shut book. Imagined it, he told himself, and closed the door before the hinge could speak. Sleep comes easier with a simple reason. Morning supplied one. The sound was in wireless headphones paired to the remote. One small detail. Silence passing for order. First call no one picked up. At the lockers, Emma bounced. "We get to stay up till 11. The kids answered with their own deals. Friday pizza, a movie with no cartoons. Marlowe loved a benchmark. Someone pulled a babysitter, ranking off a sticky, each family with a star by a name. At the hardware store, two women spoke to the shelves. "What's yours charge?" "Less than mine for keeping quiet." They smiled into the empty pegs, as if discount math could explain why everyone's kids were going to bed late. Jessica brought order in clear folders. Charts inside, Emma's day, sleep, meals, activity. Sleep was mapped like a post order. Wake, lights out, night, waking, calm. Notes in the margins. Reading better after 7 p.m. Sweets, cap at 15 grams. Mrs. Hampton nodded because discipline on paper looks like care. Mr. Hampton said, "That's a general staff map. With a folder on the table, doubt looks like fussing." That day, the night hummed still on his mind. Jessica showed Emma how to put time on shelves. They drew a strip of hours on graph paper and set colored tabs, green for play, yellow homework, blue screen. "If we swap two colors, no harm," Jessica said. "Keep the pattern." It sounded less like rules and more like embroidery. Made the rules feel like something you build, not something that blocks. That evening, curiosity won. Mr. Hampton clicked the remote. The screen woke in silence, headphone icon in the corner. "There's your ghost," he said, "relieved the way you are when you find a receipt. Simple causes are a balm, they shorten the night." Outside, the town kept its run. The Hamptons got a new one, strict and kind. Doesn't happen. Weather doesn't happen either. A condo concierge got asked if anyone reliable with charts was available. Charts became the new name for confidence. Meanwhile, Jessica added a line, 9:15 asks to stay in living room. Granted, plus 15 min for smooth lights out. No push, no nudge, just record and convert a favor into a coordinate. Parents like that, where compromise is documented, it feels like pedagogy, not weakness. The night the wind shifted, Mr. Hampton paused at the door again. He knew about the icon now. He wasn't worried. The door stayed shut. Inside, someone laughed softly at a screen pretending to be dark. Sometimes order is knowing where the sign lives. Sometimes it's faith the sign will still be there tomorrow. At recess, Emma, glowing, told how she and Jessica held night premieres, cartoons after homework, not before bed, and how ice cream sometimes beat the soup. Not a revolution, but it sounded like a club, 15 extra minutes as a trust fund. In small towns, that kind of standard grows faster than the plow piles. One kid tried it at home, another added a flourish, and by sundown everyone had a fresh line on what was now allowed. Jessica didn't push the door, she held it open. Emma lingered by the screen. One short bit, then bed, sweet after dinner. Half a wafer if the reading is clean. The rules didn't break, they moved a notch. A child's delight stamped it as correct. The gray worked better than a hard no, where a kid already wants, not getting in the way feels like permission. Her bag held an A6 notebook with a dry cover, child psychology course, field notes, no romance inside, dates, short lines, check boxes. Tolerance for bending rules grows with steady small rewards. Obedience softens if you call it play. Screen interest masks fatigue, answer with ritual, not a confession, a work log. New sheet went up on the fridge under a snowman magnet. Rewards week, tight stitches of lines, plus 10 minutes reading with discussion sticker, plus 15 minutes awake for quiet lights out last night. One small dessert for toys away without a reminder. Mrs. Hampton texted, "Let's tighten bedtime, feels like drift." The answer was quick, polite, with an attachment, agree. Average lights out 9:14, no crying on wake, daytime up. Capping bonuses at 10 minutes twice a week. Numbers soothe, data talks like proof when belief wants to land. That evening they drew a map of the day. Green play, yellow homework, blue screen, white nothing. "White's not scary," Jessica said. "It's air, lets the rest breathe." Emma nodded with puzzle face gravity. No one more movie, no let's be naughty. A system where choice shows up shrink wrapped as care. The neighbors kept their dry chorus. "Everyone's got charts now. We get an hour off if we skip dinner. What's it matter if the kids still miss lights out? Name's the difference." The phrases bounced off registers and fridge doors and lists. Any decision sounds reasonable if a calm voice says it. Jessica wrote, asks to extend, agrees to -5 tomorrow. Minimal protest, high satisfaction. Catalysts don't stand out while the reaction runs, they just set the rate. Late, Mrs. Hampton reread the sleep report and felt that thin relief when a knot turns countable. "All under control," she said to a kitchen of ticks and cooling coils. Control is persuasive on paper, almost never in a dark where the screen can fake black and still be heard. Night in Marlowe was syrup on ice, the house held together by clockwork. In Emma's room, silence looked like the pause between clips, screen black, corners still lit. She turned and turned, each rustle closer to a tab switching than a child falling asleep. "He's watching," she said, eyes on the window. The street was empty, but the lamp stretched the swings into a tall shape on the snow. That same day they watched a playlist, no plot, just cuts, a sneaker ad play without rules, roof stumbles, a bright voice, "Keep pace, don't look back." The rational answer sat right there, lamps make shadows, slogans stick with a beat. The strange didn't leave, it moved its weight. "He's watching," Emma said, "from the street." "It's the lamp," Jessica said, tugging the curtain. The silhouette dissolved like a picture when you slide it. "See, Emma nodded, still looking for something in the glass, a place between the room and the snow. Next night, when the parents came home late, Emma spoke with borrowed cadence, not borrowed words. "Life's a game without rules," she said at the sugar bowl. "Keep pace," she added, closing her notebook. In a grown voice, it would be play acting. In a child's, it fits like it was made for it. Mr. Hampton offered a fix, digital curfew. They agreed, screens till 8, then books, then sleep. Jessica gave the service smile. "I'll back that, tokens are in place." She set a jar on the table. "1 token, 10 minutes tomorrow if lights out tonight without a fight. 2, move Friday's cartoon to Saturday morning. Tokens bank." On paper it looked like unity, borders, buy-in, motive. In practice, time turned into currency and control into a trade. That night Emma woke, the air was cool. The curtain trembled, radiator acting like a breeze. "He's watching," she whispered. A branch shadow flexed on the wall, broke on the corner, lengthened. Rational showed up first, branch moved, light shifted. When her feet found the rug, she said, "Keep pace," and the source of the voice felt clear enough to taste. Morning brought a printout, tokens, results, lights out 9:10, no tears, daytime stable, bricks stacked, relief of a kind. Later, by the window, Emma said, "He doesn't watch when the curtain's closed. Daylight wins the visual ones, words hang on." Evening, father and daughter, after 8 books. She opened a fairy tale, 10 minutes, "Keep pace," she said, like copy. He shut the book the way you shut a screen, the curfew worked under the skin. Jessica, passing, sifted the tokens. Rules were in place, slightly off like a shadow when the bulb flickers. By mid-January, the air in the house snapped like wool. They agreed not to argue near the child. So the arguing lived between lines, who killed the light, who lost the keys, who missed the moment the night stretched past what's to a grade schooler. One night, with Emma down early and the kettle quiet, Mr. Hampton turned on the TV just to check. Deep in the smart menu, the history. Between cartoons and school clips sat a neat column of 18+ in guest mode. He scrolled yesterday, day before, last week. A button clicked in his throat. Mrs. Hampton took the remote like it might be lying to him. Guest leaves almost no footprints, built for polite forgetting. The lines remained, not an accident, not a one-off. Procedure doesn't need imagination. They didn't call Jessica for a talk, more a time check. She came fast, sat like a negotiator. "Explain," he said. "Guest mode, 18+, repeated." The words dropped like stone. She checked dates, nodded, no denial. "Kids survive chaos better than glass boxes," she said evenly, like reading a book that isn't there. "At 8, you learn borders by touch. No touch, borders stay abstract. Abstractions don't take a hit." A prepared answer not meant to be liked. "This isn't a lab," said Mrs. Hampton. No heat, just sighs dawning. "This is our home, our daughter." "You hired me to make it better," Jessica said. "I chose where you didn't, small doses, supervised." The tape on that word made it sound safe. Silence stuck like rhyme. The mother broke it in that flat way that comes once you've named it. "I saw your charts, your notebook. I called it professionalism. I told myself if it's in a table, it's under control." The father didn't sit, hands on the chair back. "I heard the nights, the TV. I wanted the simple cause. Now I have one, not the kind you planned for." "No theatrics, you won't be coming back," he said. "I'll pack," she said, like closing a file. Folders, thin notebook, tokens. At the door she paused, not to them. "She's very capable. Don't bring back the glass box." Blessing, warning, depends who already knows the end. The door shut clean, the heat hummed. Honest sound no one credits till it stops. Mrs. Hampton sat on the couch edge and covered her face, drawing on what she'd put on layaway for weeks. He sat beside, not touching, and wiped the TV's history, wanting the screen to hold 0. Appliances don't do blank pages. Their memory's better than ours. Emma slept through. In the morning, do tokens still count? No. A nod like class when the rule changes. One thing of Jessica's remained on the hall rack, a clear sleeve with a printed chart stuck under a scarf, could be thrown out or filled in. Sometimes guilt is easier when it lives in a document. Spring in Marlowe began as gray slush and calls from school. Homeroom asked both parents to come. 2 chairs across from a low puzzle table, something for hands while heads talk straight. The teacher was brief, talk of night premieres, lines like "rules are a game," dips near noon. The psychologist filled a form and named it Behavioral Dysregulation Linked to Uneven Rules and the Romance of Breaking Them. No monsters, no omens, just a chain that reads like a book for adults. Emma flipped a sticker book and tried a deal. If no screen today, two tomorrow, the psychologist wrote, bargaining, a child looking for steady borders where trade was praised. The plan was doable because it was plain, filters, a sleep schedule without bonuses or fines, bath story dimmer, one house voice so deals don't turn to auctions. Keep Jessica talk limited, not banned, just moved back to what is here and now. The paper had a sound that said confidence. At home they did it by the sheet, a code on the TV. The tablet in a drawer after 8, a moon night light by the bed. Dad read slow, leaving the breaths where reels used to run. Mom swapped the rewards sheet for a clean routine. For the first time in weeks, not victory, movement, like a heavy wardrobe shoved an inch, enough to see dust under it, not a drop off. Emma brought a drawing to school, a gray house and a thin woman with no face looking in the windows. Caption, discipline outside. The teacher asked what it meant. When rules talk from out there, Emma said, pointing at the empty margin. The phrasing rang familiar, notes learning to plant flags in someone else's voice. It wasn't the silhouette that stung. It was the language renting a room in a child's head. That night they went back to the plan. Lists, rituals, matching lines, a metronome still audible but already setting tempo. They added smalls, weekday breakfasts together, 10 quiet minutes before bed with no task, board games back on the table. Emma argued less and still checked how many millimeters the borders would give. No miracle turn, a sensible after. After midnight at the door, Mrs. Hampton saw Emma, thinking herself alone, tug the curtain and whisper, "There's no outside here." Not a spell, an exercise. The crack remained trust in herself, the habit of checking if the lamp will blink. The house was relearning one voice. Where winters run long, that passes for spring, rules back inside and the street back to being just a street. By March, Marlowe's snow looked like basement paper. Life resumed itself, tire swaps, grill lists, talk of taxes and discounts. Lights came off the eaves, though some left a single bulb in the window, just in case. In places like this, just in case is the habit itself. One evening, Emma lay with a book and the moon lamp. In the kitchen, Mrs. Hampton sat with a clear folder. Inside, tables now typed by her hand, lights out, wake, white spaces without screens, reading time. Next to it, a new grid notebook plain from the sundry aisle. As she filled rows, she felt it, order more like penance than command. If the circle closed, it did it without a click, back to start at a different speed. Footsteps scratched outside. She looked up but didn't go to the window, habit from January. The glass showed their kitchen, her shoulder, the lamp, the square of moonlight from the child's room. For a second, a figure slid by, dark coat, hood, a sack, could be delivery, a neighbor, anyone on the same route as always. She stood anyway, reached the frame, looked, too late, empty, tracks to the lot, lost where the mud erases the souls. Seemed like, she said, as her heart found its old meter. The bell rang once, on the mat, a paper bag from the market, milk, bread, 2 tins of peaches. A receipt with someone else's order. Addresses get crossed in rows of look-alike doors. She scanned the hall, listened to the stairwell echoes only. The chain slid home. Emma from the room said, "The moon gets in the way of the letter U," a crisp complaint about light. Her mother sat on the edge of the bed. "Happens," she said. "Light likes choosing where to be." The girl nodded, nothing secret in it, just end of day tired. Later, with the kitchen again an aquarium of reflections, Mrs. Hampton dotted the table and shut the folder. The empty sleeve, the one that caught on the scarf, stayed on the shelf as a reminder that a document can anchor or drag. A hooded figure went by beyond the glass, or didn't. Reflections show exactly what the inside can stand to see. A voice, the kind people here call voice-over when they want to give weekdays a shape, might say, "Winters run long here. The excuses run longer. Call it patience. Call it living with what you didn't sort out. Either way, you're right, so long as the lights go out on time." On the nightstand under the moon lamp lay the new notebook. First line, lights out 9:05 p.m. no bonuses. Calm, true for the night, enough to last till morning. As for whose steps sounded familiar, these towns keep their own memory. They hold tracks to the parking lot and blur them where the road begins.